I swear, I had something else to talk about today. I was going to do some, standard Steelers-Ravens preview, talk about this and that, playing Baltimore, whatever. Mike Tomlin said a couple of things today that honestly just kind of blew my mind. Good afternoon to you. Good Monday afternoon. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is the new Double Shot Show. It comes your way every weekday. These teams are going to be meeting on Saturday night, 8 p.m. at M&T Bank Stadium. And when they do, the one thing that you can basically presume in advance is that the Steelers will be operating in their fears, okay? And the reason that I know this isn't the obvious, isn't just the stuff that you see, isn't the stuff that played out this past weekend. It's that Tomlin and Arthur Smith and others who obviously answer to him will readily acknowledge it. I want you to hear this line from Tomlin today as it relates to the Steelers running the ball against the Bengals and sticking with the run even when they saw that it wasn't going to work. This was the question that was posed to him. He was asked if he'd like to see the Steelers' agenda shift quicker during a game if they aren't having success.
Certainly based on the outcome of our last performance, yes. But in terms of a vision, we make decisions. We do not live in our fears. We formulate plans to try to position ourselves to control the game. And sometimes it might be minimizing our exposure to Joe Burrow with how we play offensively. And so certainly based on the outcome, that judgment is open for discussion. But again, those decisions are complex.
Wow, there's so much to unpack there. Okay, we're actually going to be spending the next segment on this as well, the one with Chris Halicke. He says, based on the outcome of our last performance, yes, that's his way of saying, I don't often do things wrong, but this one was really wrong. The Steelers in Cincinnati ran up 44 points on the Bengals, and they did so through 500 plus yards of offense. And they did so in large part because Russell Wilson threw all day against that lame secondary that the Bengals have. And they just kept throwing and throwing and throwing, and they would kind of run to just balance it out a little bit. But the Bengals had no answer for it. That game wasn't all that long ago in real-world time. Might seem like it now, but it really wasn't. And it's the same group of players on both sides. So what ended up happening? They went into this meeting with the Bengals, and Tomlin acknowledged this today, wanting to run the ball so that they could keep it away from Burrow. It might minimize our exposure to Burrow with how we play offensively, to repeat Tomlin's quote. Inside the same quote, the same mouth spoke the words, "We do not live in our fears." If the stuff looks like it makes your brain explode when you're watching it in a game, this is why. This is why. When we come back, as promised, we'll do this with Chris too.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
Joined now by Chris over on the south side, and a little chilly over there, huh?
A little bit. Nice snow coming down. As long as it's not blowing in my face, I'm good.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, somebody was blowing smoke up there at the podium today. I can't believe he used the fears line in the same context that he referenced wanting to run the ball to keep possession away from Joe Burrow, when the last time you faced them, you got 500 yards, almost all of it through the air. How does that sink in anybody's head?
I don't know. And the thing that got me, I mean, that one was good. But the thing that got me was, I think it was the next question or the next answer. It was two later. It was within that same kind of line of questioning. He talked about, like, he was pretty much asked, like, okay, you were like near the top of the league. I think like fourth in the league in rush attempts, but like near the very bottom in rush yards per attempt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, it's about our personality and it's about managing risk. And I'm like, the managing.
Well, here, I'll read it. I'll read it exactly. He said, it's for us. It's about playing to a personality that we prescribe to engineer victory, to possess the ball. And a component of possessing the ball is not only time, but managing risk. And obviously there's less risk with running the football than throwing it. And sometimes that's a component of this discussion as well. How much risk, Chris, have they really run into with throwing the football this season?
Well, especially whenever you consider
seriously,
they did.
Like they don't throw many picks. They really don't.
Yeah, I mean, Russell Wilson, I think he has 6 this year. I mean,
so what's he talking about?
Yeah. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know how you go into that game. I mean, I even said before the game started, like back on Friday, I think when we were talking about the game before on Friday, I'm like, they need to be going in with the same exact game plan that they went in last
plan.
And then if
Make
the Bengals,
the other guys adjust to you for a change. You know, make the Bengals worry about how you put up 44 points on them.
Yeah, I didn't get it. I don't understand it. I'm still kind of baffled by it. It's one of those situations, I think, where they just consistently, and this is not just a Mike Tomlin thing sometimes, but it's also an Arthur Smith thing, kind of just outthink themselves. Like, we're going to expect the Bengals to adjust, so we're going to try to adjust before they adjust.
Before their adjustment. That's living in your fears. Yeah. That's the primal definition of living in your fears. This is the part that you can tell that this has me. Okay. I told everybody in the opening segment, this was not at all what I was planning to talk about today. I saw this and my eyes just bugged out of my head because it explains, and I'm grateful for this part, so much. It really does. The first down runs and second and 9 runs and all that other stuff. And I'm kind of glad about that. I'm kind of glad that it's now, it's not just people like me and you that have to attempt to explain this to fans, because he just did it. He just said, that he acknowledged the stuff that we accuse him of, basically. In other words, him and Arthur Smith, which is that first down doesn't matter, second down doesn't matter, first quarter definitely doesn't matter, second quarter is only marginally important, because they're just playing towards some sort of nebulous time of possession thing. How about just scoring points? That's what they did in Cincinnati. How about just scoring points, or at least trying to score points instead of eating clock?
I was just going to say the same thing. I was like, do you know what's better than possessing the ball? Scoring points.
Score the ball. Take it down the field. Cross the goal line. Watch the numbers move like this,
I mean, are you really going to try to get behind a podium and say, I didn't like the fact that we scored a touchdown because we scored a touchdown too fast? I'm sorry. You're never going to hear that answer from a head coach. Like, never. That logic doesn't make any sense to me. And by the way, let me take you back all the way to last January. You were in the room with Art Rooney II whenever he was sitting with number of reporters. What was the one thing he wanted this offense to do more of this year? Did he say possess the ball more? Did he say run the ball more?
The time of the clock or being afraid of Joe Burrow. It's like, listen, I understand game planning, and for anybody who doesn't know, what Art actually said was just score more points. It's not that you don't game plan for a Burrow. It's not that you don't adjust for him. But what you don't do is sacrifice your offense at the altar on his behalf.
Yeah.
And that's what this is. That's what this is. And I can promise you right now that what they're doing in preparation for those purple guys and for Lamar Jackson specifically is the same thing. They're doing the same thing. They're trying to figure out a way. Well, listen, if Najee runs on first down, even if we get nothing, but we eat 30-some seconds off the clock, we did it. Yeah. And never mind that it's a 3 and out. Let's just block harder. Let's just try harder. You know, yeah. I can't with this.
No, I get it. And listen, I'm going to keep preaching the same thing, that instead of first down with a pitch to Najee or a handoff to Najee in between the tackles, whatever it is, why not do a quick 4 or 5 yard out to Pat Freiermuth? If he only gains 4 or 5 yards, it's 2nd and 5, and you're still taking time off the clock because most likely that catch happens in bounds. It's the same exact thing as a run. Why can't you have more of the quick hitters in the passing game? I don't understand that, but why does it have to be about this macho wanting to run the football? I get wanting to run the ball. Needing to run the ball has been a need throughout the game's history. And that still applies today, but not at the cost of, okay, you have to figure out by now, 17 games in, you're just not a good, efficient running team. You're just not.
When people say that Tomlin is a defensive-minded coach first and foremost, and by the way, he will say this himself at times, he thinks about everything from the defensive perspective, everything. So even after his offense and his quarterback puts together 500 yards against that other team in the previous meeting, just no more than a few weeks earlier, even after that, he enters this game fearing, that is the right word, fearing the 3 and out on 3 incompletions that doesn't take anything off the clock. All right? That's where he's thinking. And now he's got to send Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, and everybody else out there going, ugh, really? I mean, we just came off. That's all he's thinking about. That's all. I don't even know if he would have watched the offensive film from Cincinnati. But I'm being facetious here, obviously. But it's hard to believe. It really is.
And it really is sad too, because we talked so long during the 3-game losing streak, those 3 games in 11 days. We talked so much about how bad the defense got. The defense, upon further review, they held Joe Burrow and that offense to 1 touchdown.
Defense was fine.
1 touchdown.
You didn't need to fear your defense performing. Your defense did fine. Yeah. They really did. I don't know that they're going to get enough credit for that because of the outcome and because of the way things have gone, and really because of the first drive. And the Bengals' first drive just left you with such a feeling, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they did their job. And if all you had done was trust them, and by the way, trust your offensive guys. But there's something else within this, Chris, and I wanted to bring this up with you before you go.
Yeah.
When Tomlin says, yes, we wish we would have adjusted those things earlier. Mm-hmm. He didn't put it in exactly those terms, but he made 2 different references to, which I found striking because he doesn't usually say stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Is that some kind of, something with Arthur there,
Possibly, maybe. I don't want to go ahead and just say that all of a sudden they're butting heads or something like that. And I really want to hear from Arthur Smith on that one too. But it's definitely something we're going to have to watch this week, because if it happens again this week, if we consistently see the same type of play calling, if they get down 7-0, then if they get down 10-0, then if they get down 13-3, and they just kind of stay back and nothing's really changing, that's going to be when we're going to kind of say, okay, this has kind of been the same theme going on. And if Tomlin's starting to say that stuff publicly and then nothing changes, then yeah, there might be a little bit something there. So it's hard to say at this point whether there's actually something there to that, but it's definitely something they've got to do, because this is a team that earlier in the year, they were doing great with their second half adjustments and everything. Yep. Over the last 4 games, you know how many points they're averaging in the second half?
Not many.
5.
Wow.
5.
I did not know that, actually.
5 points per game in the second half. They're not doing.
One thing that he can't do is pass the buck to Art here, because all you have to do as a head coach is say into your headset, hey, enough of the run. All right. Let's just do what we did in Cincinnati. Okay, coach. I mean, that's it. That's actually what that process is. Everybody's tuned in, and they're all kind of listening to what he has to say. When we come back, J1Q.
Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different. Help prevent gun accidents, misuse, and theft. Keep firearms safe and secure when not in use. For safe storage options, visit projectchildsafe.org.
I'll get to J1Q, I swear. It's a challenge to explain or attempt to explain on any regular basis thinking like that. That's just bad coaching. That's bad logic. It's not bad preparation, okay? Bad preparation is when you have a good idea, but you can't put together the pieces to execute it. That's not what this is. This is bad from the word hello. Whoever walked into a meeting room in advance of that game against the Bengals and said, you know what, let's run the ball. And if the running doesn't work, keep running, because we at least want to get some time of possession and keep Joe Burrow off the field. Whoever thought of that? That was the problem. It had no chance after that. And that all reflects on the head coach. I swear we're going to do our J1Q here. Let's go to D. Schulmerich up in Rochester, New York.
Hey, DK, what is the coaching staff's obsession with Cam Sutton? Everybody sees he's missing assignments, players, fans, and the coaching staff doesn't do anything about it except keep running him out there. Beanie Bishop isn't all-pro. He's not DPOY material, but he definitely gets the assignments better than Sutton does.
You had me right up until the last phrase there, D. Beanie hasn't been great at assignment football. Beanie hasn't been great at coverage. What Beanie does, and does it really well, did it again, is he makes plays on the football. And you'll take that. You'll take that. I don't know if it cancels out not being superb on the coverage or whatever, or not being able to wipe out an opposing target, but you'll take plays on the football. Here again, let's talk about living in our fears, all right? Let's talk about Beanie entering this season as an undrafted free agent. He goes out there, and the first couple of weeks, remember, he had all those communication issues, D. He was looking around before every snap. Where's Minka? Minka, tell me what to do. But at least he was looking around and asking. He wasn't just winging it. He wasn't going rogue blitz the way Sutton's been doing. Beanie's actually been trying to get better, and then he did get better, and he started to get significantly better as the Steelers approached their bye week. Made those 3 interceptions in 2 games. And then, because the head coach lives in his fears, he said, well, I've got Sutton here. Sutton's a veteran guy. I've been able to trust him in the past, both at outside corner and at nickel, and he was pretty good. And also, by the way, I trusted him after his issues with, spousal abuse and the NFL suspension and the police affidavit and all that other stuff when nobody else would. So I don't want to look like I'm wrong as the head coach. So I got to play him. So he puts him out there, and then he leaves him out there, and he lets Beanie rot. And an entire game goes by. The Christmas game against the Chiefs, in which Cam takes every snap. Beanie was out there for 0. And that ends up being really unpopular, as you mentioned, D, and correctly so, with his teammates, with fans, with everybody. Most importantly, obviously, inside the building. Oh, I got to do something. I got to I got to make some kind of change. This is, not popular with the guys in the locker room, and I can't afford to have anything going wrong in the locker room at this time of year, as bad as things already are. So he goes out there. Cam and Beanie go out there and they split time in the game against Cincinnati. Now, I'm looking up here the snap counts for the game, the official snap counts. You ready for this? You might not know this. It's hilarious. Sutton was out there for 61 snaps. Beanie was out there for 6. And Beanie made an interception. Who's living in whose fears? He's comfortable. He's comfortable. Another word that he likes to use, by the way, in a derisive term, where he'll say, we're not seeking comfort. We're not seeking comfort. That's what that is. You're putting a veteran out there just because you're seeking comfort. You think it's somebody that you don't have to worry about, as opposed to the kid who's making plays. I swear to you, not just you, D, everybody, I swear I'm not doing this and bringing up these subjects to pile on because it's convenient. It's actually overwhelming, the amount of material that Tomlin is giving me and everybody with this level of, this is incompetence. That's what this is. This is incompetence. I appreciate you, D. I appreciate everybody who checks out Double Shot. And we're going to be back with another one of these tomorrow.